I get a call from this guy. He says, you know, my wife is very unhappy with me. I'm withdrawn and everything, but I have this problem. I'm a cross-dresser.
So for all the skeptics out there, how do you know when therapy is not working?
The signs are pretty clear. If one, you know, in a couple's context, if one doesn't show up or doesn't really participate, you can pick that up fairly easily, you know, early on. And if that's the case, then you know it's not going to work.
But I think non-showing up can have other reasons behind it, which may not mean that therapy isn't going to work, but that just the right things haven't been happening yet in therapy or to get there. For instance, one of the partners may be the one making the appointments and intentionally is making them at a time when they know the other partner is not available.
I have had a few situations where it was pretty clear it wasn't going to work. I remember a last session with somebody, the guy absolutely wanted the marriage to continue, and the wife was out of there. And I had to tell him, you know, I can't fix it. And of course, besides wanting to be out of there, she also wanted his permission, and I told her, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. What are some ways that clients sabotage therapy?
Bringing in the same thing over and over and over again and letting me soothe, letting me fix, acting as if, oh yeah, we got a new idea, and they come back with the same thing the following week. It usually happens with two people who are very, very invested in being good and nice. And they're both really invested in being the good one. And so even though they're not saying you're the bad one, they're trading it back and forth, and it's very sweet.
So they're not willing to...
They're not really willing to admit that, okay, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Another way of saying that is refusing to take responsibility for their own behavior. Yeah.
Or sometimes they're at a point in their life that is too painful to deal with that. And also, you know, you can be helpful in addressing that and helping them to go through it, because sometimes they feel that I'm going to a territory where it's taking me back to the past perhaps, and you know, they're not ready for that. So talk about it, and how can you be ready, when do you think you'll be ready, and things like that.
I also think there are sometimes cases where there may be something already, enough warning signs present that will really say that they're not really committed to try to make therapy work. And I see this sometimes if I have people call me up and say, I've been ordered to come to court-ordered therapy for the next 6 hours to do this session, and I don't plan to change it all, but can you give me a 6-hour class? Well, at that point, the person is really telling me they're not trying to really enter therapy, they're trying to check off a box for something else. And if that's the case, and they're not at all open to do any type of change, then that may not be the most indicated as far as being ready to do any type of therapy at that point.
How about this one? I get a call from this guy. He says, you know, my wife is very unhappy with me. I'm withdrawn and everything, but I have this problem. I'm a cross-dresser, and there's just no way I can ever talk to her about this, you know. And so what can you do? My reaction was, well, why don't you come in and see me by yourself, you know, and begin to talk about this. And I get the whole story of his Irish Catholic family. This guy's a cop too, okay? So for him coming in to see me, it might as well be equivalent to coming in to see Commissioner Kelly, you know? And it never got to couples therapy because he could never talk about this. And eventually after 3 sessions, he left. There was just so much shame and so much social pressure. I don't know what I could have done, you know? Makes me sad, that one, because he's a really good guy.
So the good news is therapy is not a life sentence. People don't have to be in therapy for the rest of their life to make progress. Short-term, brief, solution-focused therapy can be very effective. Skill building is also wonderful to help people figure out how to get in and get out and get on with their lives. And it does sound like there are some signs that people shouldn't necessarily be in therapy, and they should really pay attention to those so they don't waste anybody's time.